Today we're talking about taxes and free things. There's an opinion that taxes are nothing more than robbery because there exists a state that, on the one hand, intimidates us and on the other, robs us. Let's sort this out first. Until quite recently, our society was strictly hierarchical. There was a ruling class that allowed no one into its circle, and there were all the rest, who had no way to rise up or make their way into power. The ruling class reproduces itself. All the privileges and property we've already talked about are inherited. So if a man's father was a prime minister and a wealthy person, we can assume with great probability that his son will also get a good position somewhere and be well off too. The king's son becomes the future king, and so on. On the other hand, everyone else, the common people, also reproduce themselves. Their poverty, ignorance, and lawlessness, they have no opportunity to break through, to make a career, to become somebody. They are doomed. And here we reach the key point. Power has never been the people's business. Kings and nobles rule. The people's business is to work. Those who hold power see it as natural, as a given order of things. It was this way yesterday, it will be this way tomorrow. The lower classes generally share the same view. Why do we work instead of ruling? Because we are simple, small people. They are higher, more complex. That's how the world was structured. In this world, those who have power are convinced that everyone owes them something. Above all, the people. The people must work and pay taxes because that's their purpose. What good are they otherwise if not for taxes? And for a very long time, that's exactly how it was. In this system, yes, taxes were indeed pure robbery. A small minority lived through the harsh exploitation of the vast majority. A simple scheme, but at some point, everything began to change. This happened with the emergence of democratic institutions, and as a result, with the full transition to democracy, the appearance of parliaments, constitutions, civil rights, elections, and so on. If I have the right to vote and to be elected, I can already influence power, even become part of it. Thus, with the rise of democracy, power loses its sacredness. A new type of relationship is built between those who hold power and everyone else, between elites and non-elites. Naturally, this affects taxes as well. Now people give part of their honestly earned money with the expectation of getting something in return. For example, a library, good infrastructure, roads, parks, water supply, sanitation, and so on. And if all these things really appear, you can't call that system robbery. If the state works efficiently, if officials perform their duties, if law enforcement protects society rather than itself, if there is infrastructure, parks, water supply, sanitation, then this is not robbery. But if none of this exists, then citizens have every right to ask, where is our money? After all, we all work, we all pay deductions, and we expect something in return. Yet, in the best case, our clinics are falling apart, or simply non-existent, and the roads are in poor condition. How can that be? I think we've now clarified the issue of taxes. In the modern world, it's wrong and, frankly, absurd to claim outright that any tax is robbery. You always need to look at the specific case. Yes, sometimes it really is robbery, and in that case, we haven't gone far from the 13th or 15th century. But in other cases, it can be a quite reasonable and fair system. Now let's talk about another thing we encounter every day. Free things. We all hear about free education and so on. Let's think about this for just a minute. We go to school. We don't pay, but we learn. After that, we can enter a university on a state-funded spot. Again, we study without paying. But here's the curious thing. Both university professors and school teachers receive salaries for their work. Who pays them? In most cases, the state. Where does the state get the money? From the state budget. And how is the budget formed? Sure, there's trade and the extraction and sale of natural resources. But a significant portion of the budget comes from taxes paid by citizens. So, it's easy to understand that nothing has ever been truly free. From this follows a simple conclusion. In one form or another, directly or indirectly, everything is paid for by ordinary people. And this is yet another reason to demand accountability from those in power. How much do we actually give to the state? What hidden taxation mechanisms exist? And how are all these free things really organized? That concludes our economics section. As I said, it was a short one. Next time, we'll begin a new block, politics. See you later.